The day Mom left, I saw Dad take a white medicine bottle and lock himself in the small room. I stood dumbfounded at the door. Suddenly, a barrage of bullet comments flashed before my eyes. Sweetie still doesn't know Daddy is the villainous antagonist, does she? The supporting female character schemed to climb into the villain's bed for money, which led to Sweetie's birth. Sweetie always thought the villain didn't love her, which is why she wanted to leave him and live with her grandparents. The daughter he cherished so dearly actually hated him. No wonder the villain became so disheartened he wanted to end his life. But in truth, the villain is utterly devoted to his daughter. He'd willingly risk his life for Sweetie if she just asked. I mustered up the courage to knock on Dad's door. Dad, the little bear dress is torn. Dad's voice came through. If it's torn, just change into another one. Don't we have plenty at home? I spoke with my head lowered. But this was a gift from Mom. A few minutes later, Dad pushed open the door and picked up the sewing kit. Didn't it break? Bring it here already, Dad. I'm hungry. I cautiously knocked on the door. Dad came out looking angry. Didn't you just eat at kindergarten? Are you being picky with food again? I said it with righteous confidence. Tom put ants in my bowl, so I overturned the bowl on his head and barely ate anything. My dad choked for a long moment before finally speaking with a darkened expression. Well deserved. But next time something like this happens, you should tell the teacher directly. Children shouldn't fight because it can hurt themselves. Actually, it didn't hurt much because Tom didn't fight back at all. The bullet chat was buzzing with lively discussion. I'm dying of laughter. Truly the daughter of a villain, a natural-born little devil. But what's gotten into our Sweetie today? She actually took the initiative to report to the villain. Didn't she used to be most afraid of Daddy? Even when she came home, she'd always hide in her little room and never speak to him. The villain has been depressed all along, lacking concern for our Sweetie. By the time he realized, it was already too late. Our Sweetie had withdrawn into her own little world, unwilling to open her heart to Daddy, and even felt that Daddy didn't love her just like he didn't love Mommy. It feels like our Sweetie must have found out something, so she wanted to stop Daddy from taking sleeping pills. Our Sweetie is so mature it breaks your heart. Dad placed me on the bench. He skillfully tied on an apron. What would you like to eat? I thought about it seriously. I want to eat wonton, no corn kernels, no carrots, no scallions, don't like ginger, just a little seaweed, and lots of crayfish meat, preferably shaped like flowers. I gestured the shape of a flower with both hands. And my dad's mouth twitched. He sneered. I can understand no corn kernels or scallions, but shaping your wontons like flowers is just going too far. Remember, you only have one father. Knowing I'd gone too far, I lowered my eyes, swinging my dangling feet weakly as I spoke in a small voice. Actually, it doesn't have to be shaped like a flower. As long as Daddy made it, Cindy will love eating it. I don't really understand what the aunties in the bullet comments mean by death. I only know what Grandma said, that people turn into little stars after they die, but I don't want Daddy to turn into a little star. I want Daddy to stay with me forever. Daddy didn't say anything and turned to go to the kitchen. Half an hour later, fresh flower-shaped wontons are ready. Along with it came the peeled apple shaped like a little rabbit. Then came Dad's voice, eat up, and no picky eating this time. Kids who are picky eaters won't grow tall. Seeing that little rabbit apple suddenly reminded me of every morning, the little rabbit-shaped apple left on the dining table. It was left for me by Dad. My nose tingled, feeling a bit stuffy. The flower-shaped dumplings tasted better than any I'd had before, but the good times never last long. Dad still got to his feet. After you finish eating, go to sleep properly. I'll take you to Grandma's place tomorrow. Having said that, Dad took off his apron and went into the room. This time he didn't look back. I heard the sound of the door locking. I stood dumbfounded at the doorway, feeling at a loss. Does Dad still not want Cindy? Is it because Cindy didn't behave well, so Daddy doesn't like Cindy anymore? Daddy, I can't find the teddy bear. I knocked on the door again. At first, there was no movement inside. My voice grew increasingly pitiful. That little bear doll was a gift from Mom, and I lost it. If Mom comes back and finds out, will she never want Cindy again? Cindy doesn't have a mom anymore, and Dad ignores me. Soon, the sound of unlocking echoed, and the room door opened once more. Dad irritably ran a hand through his hair. Not all the bears at home were bought by your mom. What makes this one so special? Tell me, where did you lose the bear? The barrage of comments keeps rolling. The villain is completely at the mercy of the sweet baby. Ha ha ha. Just mentioning the loss of their mom makes the villain soften up. Who wouldn't soften up? I just want to rush in and give the baby a big kiss. How can someone be this adorable? It's lethal. No wonder the villain adores the sweet baby so much. When will I get one like this? Marriage isn't the point. I just want to experience the joy of having such a precious little one. What color sack does baby prefer? Auntie will go prepare one right away. In the end, Dad spent an hour searching with me before finally finding that grubby little teddy bear under the bed. When he handed it to me, Dad's expression looked like a weight had been lifted off his shoulders. This should be enough now. I pointed at the little bear's dirty dress. The little bear's dress is torn. Dad didn't say a word and turned to walk into the room. Just when I thought Dad was going to close the door again, Dad came out with a sewing kit. Didn't you say it was torn? Why not bring it over? I handed the teddy bear to him. Dad lowered his head and began threading the needle with great seriousness. Then he poked at the little bear repeatedly until the bear's dress got stuck to his shirt. The air fell silent for a moment. I'm dying of laughter. First time seeing a villain fixing a kid's dress and ending up attaching it to his own shirt. The little one sat so obediently, watching Daddy make a fool of himself. Ha ha ha. Am I the only one who finds this scene so heartwarming? A loving father and a filial child. Can we please not have any more angst later? Give the villain a good ending. Let's all work together to give the villain a good ending. No more suffering, please. I pleaded with puppy dog eyes. Dad, can you even mend a skirt? Dad's face was cold, with a hint of embarrassment flashing across it. Half an hour later, a pink patch appeared on the little bear dress. Dad handed it to me with a cold expression. The little bear dress is fixed now. Don't bother me again, understand? After saying that, Dad closed the bedroom door again without looking back. I was left alone in the living room, still holding the teddy bear that had just been mended. A few minutes later, I knocked on Dad's door again. Before I could speak first, Dad slammed the door open. Impatient tone. Cindy, what do you want now? I spoke pitifully. I can't sleep. When I used to sleep, Mom would always tell me stories. Dad frowned. Finally, he picked up the storybook on the table. Go lie down on the bed. I breathed a sigh of relief in my heart and obediently lay on the bed, tucking myself in with the little blanket. In the dragon-slaying kingdom, there was a very beautiful princess with golden long hair and pretty eyes. One day, a fierce dragon appeared outside the kingdom. The princess decided to save her country, so she put on armor and picked up a sword. But when the princess reached the dragon's lair and saw the dragon severely injured, she felt extremely sad in her heart. She decided to lay down her weapon and extended a friendly hand to the dragon. After hearing its story, the princess learned it had been bewitched by a witch. In the end, the princess and the dragon together killed the witch. I enthusiastically raised my little hand. Why would the princess want to be friends with the dragon? Didn't the dragon kill her subjects? Dad said. Because the princess is very kind. I interrupted him again. Then why did the princess kill the witch? Dad explained. Because the witch is evil. I shook my head and retorted. Because the princess is lovesick. That's why she likes the dragon and not the witch. If it were me, I'd kill the dragon to avenge my people. My dad couldn't take it anymore. Cindy, who told you all this? I wouldn't dare say it was the aunties in the bullet comments who taught me. Love obsession is terrifying. It not only lowers your IQ but also clouds your judgment. I'll never become love obsessed in the future. I want to be a warrior who protects my people. My dad completely gave up and put down the storybook. Close your eyes and go to sleep now. In the morning, Dad made puppy-shaped rice balls. He woke me up to eat. Dad said Grandma will come pick me up for school later. I'll be living with Grandma from now on. I don't know why. Suddenly I feel so sad. Even my favorite puppy-shaped rice ball doesn't taste good anymore. Looking at me won't help. No picky eating allowed. Dad ignored my pitiful gaze, packed up my little suitcase. Not long after, the doorbell rang at home. Dad walked over to open the door and handed the suitcase to Grandma. Grandma smiled at me and spoke. Cindy, my dear, did you miss Grandma? Dad untied the apron for me and handed me over to Grandma. Be obedient and listen to Grandma from now on, okay? Don't be mischievous anymore. The moment he let go, overwhelming panic swept through my entire body. I instinctively threw myself into Dad's arms. No, don't leave Dad. I clung to Dad's neck and refused to let go. Start wailing loudly. Dad's body stiffened slightly. Then he looked at me seriously. Didn't you say before that you really wanted to live with Grandma? Why the sudden change of heart? I don't know why either. I used to really want to live with Grandma, but now, just thinking about leaving Dad makes me incredibly sad. Sad enough to feel like dying. I shook my head like a rattle drum. Cindy really likes Grandma, but Cindy doesn't want to leave Dad either. Grandma glanced awkwardly at Dad, then she looked at me. Grandma has prepared a big princess room for you, with your favorite teddy bear toys and lots of pretty little dresses. Your dad still has many things to take care of and might not have time to look after you. Come home with Grandma. And I'll make delicious sugar pancakes for you every day. I stared blankly at Dad, my nose tingling as I lowered my head. Suddenly it occurred to me that Dad was an adult. Adults have to work and can't take care of children. I shouldn't make Dad worry anymore. Dad is already very tired. With reddened eyes, I let go of Dad's hand. As I left with Grandma, I saw Dad standing in place for a long time without moving. Half of his face was hidden in shadow, his eyes filled with loneliness. The barrage flashed before my eyes again. No, sweetie, your dad really loves you, and he's also super reluctant to let you go. I feel like the villain is completely shattered. The only pillar supporting his will to live is about to disappear. The villain must have completely given up on life. It's a pity the sweet child doesn't know this separation will be the last time seeing Daddy. So heartbreaking. The villain was never chosen. As a child, he was tortured by his birth mother and abandoned in an orphanage to fend for himself. Later, adoptive parents took him in, and he thought he finally had a home, only to find they grew wary and suspicious of him. After all, he wasn't their biological child. What's more, the villain was locked in a dark room as a child, leaving him with psychological scars. He rarely spoke and never learned how to please others. In the end, even the only person who ever showed him warmth, the female lead, was taken away by the male lead. The villain truly had it rough. So Dad wasn't Grandma and Grandpa's biological child after all. Dad was just adopted by Grandma from the orphanage. The aunties in the bullet comments said that Dad's biological father abandoned him and his mother when he was very young. Dad had a very tough childhood. If he misbehaved, he would be locked in a dark room without food. Father's mother would also beat him with a rope, nearly drowning him by pressing his head into a water vat, believing he was a jinx who caused their abandonment. At the age of 10, Father was abandoned at the doorstep of an orphanage. Later, he was adopted by his grandparents. Grandfather and grandmother treated Father very well, just like their own child. She would cook delicious meals for Dad in different ways every day. She would also secretly stuff Dad's backpack with cookies and milk. Because Dad was afraid of the dark, they prepared the brightest room for him. She would buy Dad lots of clothes to cover up the bruises on his body, until later when Grandma became pregnant. The whole family started revolving around the baby in her belly. Gradually, no one cared about him anymore. The carefully made clothes he gave to Grandma would be tossed onto the shoe cabinet and ignored. His report card with the top grades in class no longer had a parent's signature. Parent-teacher meetings were always forgotten because they coincided with checkup days. Even birthdays couldn't have cake because pregnant women couldn't eat it. Never celebrated again after that. Dad didn't know what he'd done wrong. He only knew he was gradually becoming an outsider in this family, until later, when he got into a fight and sent the other person to the hospital. Grandma and Grandpa began looking at Dad with more wariness in their eyes. They wouldn't let Dad get close to the baby. They believed Dad had inherited his mother's antisocial personality, afraid that keeping such a person at home might lead to trouble, so they secretly altered Dad's application and sent him to a faraway school. After learning about this, Dad completely changed, as if he had become a different person. It wasn't until later that Dad met the female lead. That was the only person in his life who had ever given him warmth, so even though he knew the female lead didn't love him, he still wanted to keep her by his side by any means necessary, while the mother was the villainess, who set her sights on the father's family fortune, and thus resorted to any means to climb into the father's bed. In the end, she gave birth to me. Dad didn't love Mom, but he let her keep me. From the time I can remember, Dad had already gone bankrupt. Mom always argued with Dad over this matter. He even told me that Dad is a big villain, that Dad doesn't like me, and told me not to appear in front of Dad and wander around, but I always feel that's not the case. I lowered my head and looked at the little bear water bottle covered in stickers. This was bought for me by Dad. Mom never used to do my hair before, but after Mom left, Dad would braid my hair into pretty ponytails every day. He'd even carefully clip on my strawberry hairpins. The morning milk and bunny-shaped apple slices were always prepared by Dad. Every year, even on my birthday, Dad would prepare gifts for me. Although he never mentioned these things to me, I could feel how much Dad loved me. Grandma, I'm not leaving. I stopped in my tracks. This time, I didn't want to leave Dad. Grandma looked surprised. Why, didn't Cindy say before that she didn't like Daddy and wanted to live with Grandma and Grandpa? I wiped my tears haphazardly. Cindy loves Grandma very much. And also loves Grandpa and Uncle, but Cindy wants to live with Daddy even more. Grandma has Grandpa by her side, Uncle has Grandma and Grandpa, even Mom has an uncle who likes her, but Dad only has me, sob sob. I knew our sweetheart wouldn't leave. She must have sensed it too. She saw the birthday gift the villain sent her, along with the little bear toy, realizing how much her dad truly loves her. Our sweetheart is such a little angel, no wonder the villain is a doting father. If it were me, I wouldn't be able to let go either. Yes, sweetheart, just like that. Go hug him, villain. Do you see, this time, it's your precious daughter firmly choosing you. You are loved. Baby loves Daddy so much. I broke free from Grandma's grip. I turned and ran back. But halfway there, I tripped on the gravel path, scraping long gashes on my knees and elbows. Tears welled up from the pain, but I didn't let myself cry, because I knew Dad was still waiting for me. Dad. Dad froze completely. He turned around and instinctively caught my small body. No frown. Why are you back? I hugged Dad. Cindy isn't leaving. Cindy will live with Dad from now on. Dad froze for a moment, pursing his lips to feign aloofness. I don't have time to take care of you. Besides, I'm very fierce. Aren't you afraid of me, Cindy? I don't care at all. Grabbed his face and planted a big kiss. Don't worry, because I know Daddy loves me very much. Cindy can take care of herself. In the future, Cindy will earn money to support the family, and Daddy just needs to stay pretty. I quickly took out a red envelope from my pocket and stuffed it over. From Grandma. The middle-aged woman chasing behind couldn't help but laugh and cry. Finally, she looked at Dad. She hesitated to speak. Bring Cindy home for dinner tonight. Consider it a holiday gathering to get together. My eyes lit up when I heard this, but a hint of hesitation flashed through my gaze. Because I know Grandma and Grandpa hurt Dad. Dad doesn't want to go back to that house. Dad noticed my little expression and curled his lips. He pinched my little cheek. Do you want to go to Grandma's house? I whispered in Dad's ear. Dad, you're bankrupt. We don't have much money left. We can go to Grandma's for free meals. I'm so clever to come up with such a great excuse. Dad curled his lips and pinched my little cheek. All right, let's go for free meals. The barrage burst into laughter upon hearing this. Villain, shouldn't you reflect on this? Even such a young child knows you're broke. What does this mean? It means it's time for you to rise up. Good baby truly has our villain's genes. Knowing how to save money at such a young age, the villain still doesn't realize the severity of the situation. Raising a child is no simple matter. Just wait until reality slaps him in the face. What face slapping? Does anyone really think the villain's entrepreneurial success was just luck? A business genius isn't just an empty title. If the female lead hadn't chosen the male lead back then, leaving the villain heartbroken, how could the male lead have taken advantage of the situation? Hilarious. The villain just didn't feel like playing anymore. Now, things might be different. Take this money. After dinner, Grandpa handed Dad a bank card. Dad's hand holding mine paused. Didn't reach out to take it. No need. Grandpa stubbornly shoved it into his hand. Your mother and I know your company went bankrupt. We don't understand much about entrepreneurship, but you need this money now that you're raising Cindy, Grandma said with teary eyes. Lucas, your father and I have known we were wrong all these years. We don't ask for your forgiveness, but this money is the only thing we can do for you. Please take it. Dad stared blankly at the bank card. This sudden kindness left him both unprepared and fearful. He didn't know how to respond, until I snatched that bank card and returned it to Grandpa. Don't worry, Grandpa, Dad is quite wealthy too. I've seen his bank account balance. It's 89,962 yuan. Oh, and 80 cents. Dad quickly covered my little mouth. Who would have thought that in an unguarded moment, the little rascal would blurt out the bank balance? Grandma's expression was complicated. Only 80,000. How is that enough to raise a child? How about, Lucas, you should just leave Cindy with us to raise. Your dad and I definitely have enough money to raise a child. I quickly spoke up. No, Cindy is very easy to take care of. Cindy won't be picky about food or spend money recklessly. Daddy, don't abandon Cindy. My dad stuffed a strawberry into my mouth. He explained with a smile. Thank you, Mom and Dad. But don't worry. I do have enough money to raise a child. I lent out some before. Should be able to get it back now, Grandpa inquired. How much did you lend out? Dad said without changing his expression. Just about 2 billion. Not too much, but it should be enough. With that, Grandpa resolutely put away the bank card. He snorted twice. Then leave, and don't come back. It was just so embarrassing. Making him look like a clown, the old man wishes he could turn back time to just now. Ha ha ha, I told you the villain wouldn't be unprepared. A business genius indeed. If not for falling head over heels for the female lead, how could he possibly have gone bankrupt? So does this mean our Cindy can live in a mansion from now on? Girls should be pampered, otherwise, they might get swept off their feet by some delinquent when they grow up. Can't wait for the villain's comeback. Take our sweet baby back to the top. I was clamoring to go to KFC in the afternoon. When Dad took me there, I saw Leah at the entrance of KFC. Leah was pitifully crouched in a corner, crying her eyes out when she saw me. The barrage comments started flooding the screen. It's little Leah, the son of the male and female leads. I remember he goes to the same kindergarten as Sweetie. Poor Leah. After the leads got together, the male lead always treated him like a third wheel. Afraid he'd steal the female lead's affection, so he kept dumping the kid with his assistant. OMG, how can parents be like this? If it were my son who went missing, I'd be freaking out for sure. So Leah is the child of the male and female leads. My little brain whirred into action. I grabbed Leah's small hand. Don't be afraid. My dad is really strong and can protect us. I'll take you to meet my dad. Leah always trusted me and followed along eagerly when my dad came back after ordering food. He saw there was one more person. He raised an eyebrow. Who is he? I introduced him to Dad. He's my good friend from kindergarten, but he got separated from his parents. It's dangerous for a little kid to be outside alone, so I wanted Dad to protect him for a while. Leah looked up with big, watery eyes. She called out in a sweet, childish voice, "Hello, Uncle," probably because I was by her side. Leah quickly adapted to the environment. She happily followed me to eat KFC before remembering to look for her parents. In the evening, my dad and I prepared to take her home. When we were almost home, I saw Leah's mom, a very beautiful older sister. This is the female lead who made Dad love her but couldn't have her. Jenny meets Leah. She clenched her teeth and glared angrily at Dad. "Lucas, if you have any issues, take them up with me. Can you please not threaten my son? What exactly do I need to do for you to leave us alone?" Dad looked utterly confused. Oh no, the female lead has misunderstood the villain again. This happened before. The supporting female character schemed to drive a wedge between the villain and the female lead by kidnapping her, drugging her, and abandoning her with a stranger. Luckily, the villain arrived in time and saved her, but unexpectedly, after the female lead regained consciousness, she mistakenly believed the villain had drugged her. And it was from that moment she began to fear and avoid him. Later, the villain tried to explain, but the female lead refused to believe him. Over time, he stopped trying to justify himself. Jenny pulled her son away. Frustrated, she scolded, "Leah, you're already 3 years old. Can't you be more cautious? Don't just follow anyone. Do you know how long your father and I have been looking for you?" Even so, Dad didn't say a word. My small body stood in front of Dad. Speaking with righteous indignation, my dad didn't kidnap Leah. It was clearly you who lost Leah. He was alone on the street, and I asked Dad to protect him. If you don't believe me, you can check the surveillance footage. Jenny was completely taken aback by what I said. Then she crouched down and asked her son, "So did you sneak out by yourself? Why didn't you tell Mom and Dad? Do you know how worried we were about you?" Leah cried even more sadly. It was me who ran out on my own. I couldn't find Mom and Dad and was too scared alone. Little Leah bravely admitted her mistake, and I huffed twice to show I was angry. Jenny felt extremely embarrassed. "Sorry about that. And who might this be?" Dad held my hand and introduced me. "Cindy, my daughter." Jenny beamed with joy and patted my little head. "Auntie was wrong. Auntie misunderstood your dad. Will you forgive Auntie? Auntie gives you candy as an apology." I cautiously looked at Dad. Only after seeing Dad's approval did I accept Jenny's candy. "Cindy is so adorable. Why don't you take Leah to play ahead first? I have something private to discuss with your dad." I tactfully took Leah's hand and walked ahead. Jenny couldn't help but speak up. "I saw Cindy's mom that day." Dad's body stiffened. "What are you trying to say?" Jenny hesitated to speak. "Can't you stop being so selfish and cold-blooded? I know you don't like Sarah, and marrying her wasn't voluntary back then. But she is still Cindy's mother after all. Now that she's back, you shouldn't selfishly keep Cindy by your side. You should let Cindy make her own choice." Dad sneered coldly. "Did she say that to you?" Jenny bit her lip. "Although she's done many wrong things before, she's still my friend after all. I believe she must have truly reformed. What should I do?" I'm getting annoyed by the stupidity. Does this female lead have a screw loose? After being harmed by the supporting female character like this, she still trusts her, can't be helped. That's the setting of this book. The female lead is just a naive sweetheart. Several times before when the supporting female tried to frame her, the villain discovered and stopped it in time, yet after the supporting female plays the innocent in front of her, the female lead still sides with her. The poor antagonist didn't know how many things he had done to help the female lead, only to be misunderstood by her as someone who would stop at nothing. At first, he tried to explain, but later realized she wouldn't believe him no matter what, so he stopped explaining altogether. Meanwhile, Leah stuffed the last remaining piece of chocolate into my hand. She reluctantly planted a kiss on my cheek. My dad didn't even bother to continue the conversation. His face instantly darkened as he swiftly grabbed the person and lifted them up, with a grim expression. He tossed the person to the female lead. You'd better take care of your own son first, LMAO. The villain's doting gaze vanished the moment he realized his precious cabbage got dug up by a pig. Now he can't stand the sight of Leah no matter what. I'm kinda shipping the childhood friends. What should I do? The kids are so sweet. Sis upstairs, don't ship randomly. Listen to Auntie. Don't fall in love too early. You're still young, Dad. I won't be friends with Leah anymore. On the way back, I hung my head low. Dad picked me up with a serious expression. Why don't you want to play with Leah anymore? Aren't you two best friends? I hugged him, my tone sulky, because I don't want Daddy to be unhappy. Daddy always seems unhappy when he sees Aunt Jenny and Uncle. My dad patted my little head, his tone laced with seriousness. Cindy has the right to choose her own friends. The matters between me, Aunt Jenny, and Uncle are adult affairs that don't concern children. Daddy has Cindy now, so Daddy is very happy. I nodded firmly. Cindy will never leave Daddy. After saying that, I gave Dad a big kiss on the cheek. I grinned foolishly. With Dad around, Cindy is the happiest kid. Sniff. This warms even a cold corpse to watch. Cindy is so sensible. She can even sense her father's emotions. The antagonist is also really nice. He didn't let past grudges stop the kids from socializing. After today, the antagonist will probably let go of his feelings for the female lead completely. With our little angel Cindy by his side, he won't be alone anymore. Dad, Leah invited me to her house to play. On the weekend, I hung up the phone with Leah and spoke to my dad. Dad held my little hand tightly. He looked at me with a complicated expression. Do you really like playing with Leah? I nodded. Although Leah is a bit silly, he brings me chocolate every day. I don't dislike him. Actually, I didn't have many friends in kindergarten. Leah was the only one who wasn't afraid of me and still played with me. After I finished speaking, Dad's expression became even more complicated. In the end, he compromised. When visiting someone's home, it's customary to bring a gift. In the evening, Dad accompanied me to buy toys and strawberries, then dropped me off at Leah's doorstep. He chose not to enter, instead watching me walk into the villa. Then he turned and walked into the alley. I gave the meeting gift prepared by Dad to Aunt Jenny. Leah set up the tent in the garden, prepared a lot of delicious food, but just at that moment, the beautiful aunt suddenly covered my eyes. Cindy, how about I give you a surprise? Come with me. Without thinking much, I was led to the backyard. When I opened my eyes again, I saw my mother. The moment Sarah saw me, she burst into tears. Cindy, my darling, it's all Mommy's fault. Mommy didn't protect you well enough, letting your father take you away. Cindy won't blame Mommy, will you? Although I was happy to see my mother, I instinctively refuted her words. No, Daddy treats me very well. But Mom suddenly seemed to lose control of her emotions. She grabbed my shoulders. No, your father is a devil. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't have left our Cindy. Your father wouldn't even let me see you. You have no idea how I've been these past days. Aunt Jenny also comforted her. It's okay now. All of this is over. No one will take Cindy away anymore. Since you've met Cindy, I'm sure you have a lot to talk about. I'll take Can and leave now. Aunt Jenny took Leah away. Only Mom and I remained in the entire garden. Mom wiped the tears from the corner of her eye. She took out the little cookies she had prepared for me. Cindy, these are all prepared by Mom for you. Do you like them? I nodded happily. I love it. I love anything Mom makes. Mom's tears turned into a smile, pinched my little cheek. After dinner, would Cindy like to go home with Mommy? I tilted my head in confusion. What about Daddy? Mom's smile stiffened slightly. I'll talk to your dad about it. Doesn't Cindy like Mommy? Cindy does like you. I used to love Mommy the most. Sweetie, don't be silly. This woman is pure evil. She just wants to use you to threaten the villain. I'm so furious. Does the female lead have no brain? How could she just hand our sweetie over to this toxic supporting character? Can't be helped. The female lead in this book is written as a naive airhead with zero cunning. She easily believed all the lies made up by the supporting character, even thinking the villain wanted to keep Cindy by force and wouldn't let the supporting character see her own child. The truth is, the supporting character only remembered the villain after running off with her lover and discovering he was drowning in massive debts. Mom took me out of Leah's house through the back door of the villa, because we had agreed on a time with Dad. Before afternoon, Dad didn't show up outside the villa. If I rashly resisted, I might even be locked in a dark room by Mom, so I must not be afraid. Mom took me to an unfamiliar apartment complex. As soon as we entered, I smelled heavy cigarette smoke. And a man's slipper came flying at me. Where the hell have you been? Did you get it? Mom yanked me in front of her. The slipper came straight down on my head, hurting so much I couldn't help but want to cry. Yet Mom didn't even glance at me. Instead, she forced a smile. We've brought her back. Don't worry, Lucas loves his precious daughter more than anything. He'll definitely give us the money. Mom's smiling face instantly changed. An unprecedented malice appeared on that beautiful face. It was an expression I'd never seen before. I was so scared that I couldn't help but cry, only to be thrown into the dark room by my mom. Cry, cry, all you know is crying. As expected, a daughter is useless. If it were a son, the Sue family would have handed over their assets to me long ago. When there was no more sound outside, I huddled myself into a tiny corner. I took out the phone hidden inside the teddy bear. Dad, Mom took me away. She locked me in a very dark room. I'm so scared. Dad's anxious voice came through the phone. Cindy, don't be afraid. I'm coming to find you now. Hide yourself well and don't get caught. Okay. I nodded hard. Just then, the door suddenly opened. The bad uncle noticed the smartwatch on my wrist. You little bastard. You actually hid a smartwatch inside. Hand it over. Mom slapped me across the face. Ungrateful little traitor. I'm your mother. How dare you try to tip someone off? You're grounded from dinner tonight. The next day. Mom gagged my mouth. Then she and the bad uncle took me to an abandoned building. Soon Dad and Aunt Jenny arrived too. Father's face darkened, his eyes brimming with suppressed anger. Let her go. I'll give you anything you want. Sarah's expression twisted. If you want me to spare her, I demand 500 million. Otherwise, no deal. Dad clenched his fists, trying his best to stay calm. I can give you the money, but I don't have that much cash on me. Mom tightened her grip on my neck. I don't care how you do it. I want the money today, or you'll be buried with your daughter. Jenny's eyes turned red with anger. Sarah, you said you wouldn't hurt the child. That's why I handed her over to you. I never expected you'd deceive me like this. Mom sneered coldly. How else could I have tricked you if I didn't say that? If you ask me, you're the stupid one. Didn't you notice all those times before? If it weren't for Lucas protecting you, you'd have died countless times already. Jenny was completely stunned. She never expected the outcome to be like this. So all those previous misunderstandings were her wrongly blaming Lucas, the man who deeply loved her. What had she done? She even handed Cindy over to such a woman. Since you hate me, I'll exchange myself for you. Leave Cindy behind, and take me as your hostage. Jenny closed her eyes, a single clear tear streaming down. A hint of hesitation flashed in Mom's eyes. Just as she reached out to grab Jenny, I struggled desperately to break free from her grasp. While Mom and the bad uncle were seized by the police, terrified, I threw myself into Dad's arms. Dad, that scared me to death. Thank goodness the little one is okay. Otherwise the villain would have wanted to kill both the female lead and the supporting female character. Our little one finally got to see her dad. Woo-woo, it's been tough for both father and daughter. First dealing with the naive female lead, then the malicious supporting female character. I hope they can both be happy from now on. Heroine, stop crying already. You think you're the most pitiful, but actually you're the most ridiculous. Ridiculous +1. Don't let me meet this type in real life. I'll slap every single one I see. Dumb sweethearts, get lost. From now on, I'll never have a mother again. Fear and grievances all piled up at this moment. I couldn't stop crying. Dad held me tightly in his arms. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Daddy is here now, and I won't let Cindy face danger again. Jenny, having narrowly escaped disaster, cried her heart out and walked over to me, apologizing to me. I'm sorry, Cindy. Auntie almost got you hurt. Can you forgive me? I lifted my head from my father's embrace. Auntie Jenny, you shouldn't be apologizing to me. It should be Dad. Dad has never hurt you. He truly, deeply loved you. But you never believed in him." Jenny choked up. Tears streamed down. "I'm sorry." Dad held me in his arms and spoke without turning his head. "No need to apologize. I did this willingly. But I hope we never meet again. I don't want Cindy to face any more danger." After saying that, he never looked back. I wrapped my arms around Dad's neck and gave him a loud kiss. "From now on, you have me, Dad. Cindy will always love Daddy." Lucas chuckled from the heart. "Daddy will always love Cindy too." After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. My name is Frank, and I'm just an ordinary CEO in City A. But ordinary doesn't mean I'm an idiot. Watching the nanny swap my child with my wife's child on the monitor, I realized the world must have gone mad, but I would set things right. In front of the surveillance screen, I frowned and pointed at the progress bar. Right here, in the first 5 minutes, the technician adjusted the camera to Helen's face. Didn't she just give birth? Why would she be in the nursery? Private hospitals are expensive in every way, but this is the one good thing about them. The surveillance is extensive and long-lasting. Not only does the surveillance have video, but it also has audio, and it's crystal clear. The technician turned up the volume to the maximum, clearly hearing Helen inside, tearfully saying, "Child, you will thank your mother someday for securing such a good future for you. Why should my child be born into a life of servitude?" "Heh," I chuckled, looking at the paternity test results in my hand. So, Helen didn't know that private hospitals conduct paternity tests after a child is born. Not only did I arrange for paternity tests to ensure the children were indeed mine and my wife's, but I also decided to observe them every minute. I personally went to the nursery, swapped the 2 babies back, and took my daughter home. Since then, Helen has been more attentive to my daughter than to her own. In the years that followed, I kept Helen by my side and clearly saw how she abused her daughter. But I did not intervene. If I wasn't careful enough, it would be my daughter who would suffer. Damn, wouldn't you be mad if it were you? Sometimes my wife couldn't bear to watch and would stop her. "Helen, stop hitting her." At this point, Helen would get even angrier. After hitting her hard, she would bid us farewell, saying she wouldn't attend elementary school here anymore and was going back to the countryside. I knew she was probably afraid that when the child grew up, they wouldn't resemble us, and the truth would come out. I approved her resignation. Let that woman go back to her hometown and abuse her own child. My wife looked at me, puzzled. "I always feel like you have some connection with her. Are you secretly having an affair with Helen? Why does she always look at you as if she's about to say something but holds back?" I comforted my wife. "It's not like that." Then I told my wife about the baby swap, and that's when she found out. That happened. My wife immediately said, "Good, let them abuse her." After my daughter started kindergarten, her homeroom teacher has been frantically contacting me. Every photo my wife posts on her social media, the homeroom teacher reposts on her own feed. After discovering how wealthy I am, she even started frequently sending me flirtatious messages. The reason my wife also needs her own company is that she's extremely busy with work. We're a dual CEO household. The homeroom teacher always tattled on me, saying things like, "Your daughter's hair isn't tied up properly again today," or "She's going on a spring outing and hasn't prepared her food. Is her mom not careful enough?" Even during the parent-teacher conference at the kindergarten, she claimed that my wife's photos on WeChat moments were pirated from her own moments, and then she threatened on moments that she would make my wife kneel and apologize to her, even going so far as to say that I was her husband. My wife was furious on the spot, ready to go fight her. My wife is fierce. Her family is as wealthy as mine, otherwise, how would we have ended up together? She's been to the station before. She really would lay hands on someone. I stopped her. "You get arrested for hitting people." As a mother, it's better to find a more psychologically devastating solution. I suggested she post a few more videos flaunting her wealth, and this time, to remember to show both her face and mine. The homeroom teacher was furious, slandering it as an AI-generated video. This time, the other parents weren't so foolish. I also added other parents and posted photos of my wife, child, and me as a family of 3 on my moments every day. The homeroom teacher has completely lost face for now and hasn't bothered me for a long time. The good times didn't last. My daughter's homeroom teacher became increasingly unhinged, occasionally sending me revealing photos and becoming more audacious in her words. My wife was furious and couldn't resist adding the homeroom teacher on WeChat to argue with her. The homeroom teacher said sarcastically, "The unloved one is the third party," and then she was extra nice to my daughter. My daughter is also smart. Whenever the homeroom teacher approached, my daughter would cry hysterically. The homeroom teacher's relatives and friends also came to our door, saying that his wife had only given him a daughter, and it must be because she couldn't bear a son and hadn't had any more children all these years, so she should quickly step down and let someone else take her place. I gathered all the evidence and sent it to the Education Bureau. The homeroom teacher was successfully fired, and the PDF with all the nude photos went viral online. The faces of these relatives also made it to the trending topics. And my daughter's kindergarten life came to a smooth end. After my daughter started elementary school, I thought things would be peaceful, but unexpectedly, when my company went to an orphanage to show love for tax evasion purposes, an orphan saw me and quietly cried, calling out, "Dad, damn, you can't guard against everything." My daughter, completely obsessed, sympathized with her and looked at me, "Dad, can you adopt her, please?" I definitely wasn't willing. My daughter is good in every way. She's just too kind. I decided to let this child in to teach her a lesson, so my daughter wouldn't feel sorry for everyone she saw in the future. I agreed. When my daughter picked out a playmate, her judgment was terrible. She chose someone who was extremely cunning. After we first brought her home, my wife didn't pay much attention, treating both children equally. This little girl would run to my wife every now and then, crying and saying that my daughter bullied her. In the middle of the night, she would secretly run into our bedroom and hug my wife without saying a word. Every time we asked her what was wrong, the girl wouldn't say, only that her sister was mean to her, that her sister bullied her, and she even said she didn't have a mom and dad, that she envied her sister, but her sister always bullied her. Our daughter knew nothing of this. My wife initially thought our daughter had really done something bad and was about to go scold her, but I stopped her. Later, I took my wife to watch the surveillance footage, and only then did she realize how malicious this girl really was. She immediately got angry and wanted to kick the little girl out. I stopped her. If she leaves this early, how will our daughter learn her lesson? Seems reasonable. My wife instantly calmed down. The little girl's manipulative words didn't fool us, but they did fool the nanny. The nanny's attitude towards her grew worse and worse, even privately telling my daughter, "If you weren't born to the master and mistress, I'd think you were picked up from some garbage dump." So inelegant. And she even secretly bullies the young mistress. She can't even tolerate an orphan. My daughter, furious, found the adopted girl and yelled at her, "Why did you lie to everyone like that? I clearly didn't bully her." The little girl's eyes reddened. "Sister, I didn't say those things. Maybe you misunderstood." Everyone's attitude towards her grew worse and worse, until it escalated to my wife and me. I smiled. Didn't she know? There were surveillance cameras all over the house. I looked at the screen on the monitor, then at my daughter, and asked her curiously, "What are you thinking now?" My daughter was already questioning life and didn't speak. Initially, my daughter had cried and fussed, insisting on bringing it back. This time, my daughter was truly sensible. "Dad, I was wrong. I'll never do this again." I quickly dismissed the nanny, canceled their social security coverage that was affiliated with our company, and found new employees from a reputable nanny agency. I never actually went through the adoption process. The best I could do for this orphan's future was to send her some money for her education as she grew up. Once I saw she had become sensible, I quickly sent her abroad to ensure we'd never meet again in this lifetime. My daughter was doing exceptionally well in middle school. She was the top student in our entire city, so we didn't send her to a prestigious private school. Those elite schools are full of students who don't perform well academically. With my daughter's outstanding grades, sending her there would have been a waste of money and could have led her astray. But unexpectedly, just because my daughter didn't go to the aristocratic academy, a group of people slandered and spread rumors about her online. My daughter usually likes to post her purchases online. Many people said she was a rich young lady and would definitely go to an aristocratic academy this time, but my daughter didn't go at all. So this group of people followed suit and cyberbullied her, saying that she must have pretended to be rich to deceive them, and was a fake socialite. A group of people went crazy, spreading rumors under my daughter's videos. My daughter was furious, wishing she could confront each and every one of them. My highly intelligent daughter was dug up with rumors like all her exam scores were copied, and campus copying legend. I could tell at a glance that all those rumor-mongering texts were completely fake. Why do I say that? because I care deeply about my daughter's education. My wife and I both took that online course together. Our family of 3 studied together. I didn't get a good education back then. It was the winds of the era that allowed me to start a company. My company only has about 1,000 employees, a very ordinary small factory, and just about 1,000 acres of land. My life can only be described as comfortably well off, so I'm extremely dedicated to my daughter's education. How could I possibly cheat? When our daughter was doing her homework, we used the Feynman learning method. My wife and I would pretend to be illiterate and not understand. So our daughter would explain the problems to us every day, logically speaking. Our daughter's knowledge level could be that of a middle school teacher. You're telling me she cheated? You might as well say that my wife and I took the exam for her. My wife was also furious. The internet was flooded with accusations that my daughter was a plagiarist. I asked my daughter, "Do you know who is doing this to you now?" My daughter was furious. "It's that little innocent girl in our class. Her family is really poor, and she often doesn't have enough to eat." I told her I could help her, but she thought I was looking down on her. So she ganged up with the whole class to isolate me. Our daughter never told us any of this. My wife and I had no idea. Then why didn't you say something sooner? I could have helped you transfer schools. Our daughter hadn't expected this either. I thought grades came first. Our class teacher was very good to me and protected me. Could a little white flower study well if she hadn't eaten enough? I told her that to have a good brain, you need to eat and sleep well. She went to work every day and didn't even put her heart into studying. And then she said that because I had such good conditions, my good grades must have been copied. Watching my daughter refute with such sound reasoning, I suddenly felt like she had grown up. Do you remember that girl you insisted on adopting before? You probably met another girl like that. Throughout my daughter's growth, there were always overwhelming numbers of people around her, always trying to bully her. When we usually took our daughter for a walk, there were always parents with their daughters who would deliberately bump into her, trying to scratch her face. Later, I simply moved with my daughter to an independent villa area. Walking around our own doorstep should be safe now. My daughter never knew any of this. But this time she truly felt the malice of those netizens. My daughter was sad. So, do you think I should refute them? It's up to you. My daughter looked at the negative comments and didn't sleep all night, jotting down the useful advice and words for her. She seemed to grow up overnight. After that, my daughter never posted these things again. Instead, she reported to me, requested a sum of money, and started tinkering with her own small business. Over one summer, my daughter spent her days reselling grain, delivered food at noon, and in the evenings, she had to preview her high school lessons to teach my wife and me. Not only did she grow to 1.7 meters tall, but she also finished all 3 years of high school coursework. My financial support was also ample. Her lessons with renowned teachers were continuous, one-on-one online tutoring from Tsinghua. After my daughter started high school, the atmosphere at the Key High School was excellent. My daughter entered with the top score in the city. Although there was suspicion of plagiarism, many people felt she was merely famous in name only and were ready to catch her cheating. His daughter quickly proved them wrong with her abilities. During the first mock exam, her score was not only the highest in the entire school, but also nearly 20 points higher than the second-place student, breaking the entrance exam record. At that time, the whole school said his daughter had bought the answers and was very rich. His daughter wasn't even angry then. She just quietly came back and did practice problems all night. Her current way of de-stressing is to take her phone and deliver food, riding a small shared bicycle, where no one recognizes her, and earning a sense of accomplishment with each delivery. I had no objections to any of this. In fact, I thought it was great for my daughter. She got exercise, earned a little money, and was happy herself. My wife felt sorry for her and wanted to talk to the homeroom teacher. I advised her not to, because the best way for a student to prove others wrong is to get good grades. Explanations are useless. Sure enough, in the second exam, my daughter was still first, widening the gap with the second-place student by 20 points. This time, no one could claim it was copied. After all, she scored 144 in Chinese. Is that a score you can copy? Everyone isn't stupid. Most of those who get into key high schools are focused on their studies. Seeing her daughter's excellent grades, even more people were willing to approach her. In this environment, her daughter's mindset improved significantly. Anyway, she wouldn't play with anyone who had bullied her before, and she would befriend anyone who hadn't gossiped about her. She often told us, "We must unite all forces that can be united." Anyway, we feel that our daughter is stronger than us, and we can't do what she does. If someone bullies me, I'd definitely show my displeasure on the spot, yet my daughter stubbornly withstood this pressure, greeting everyone with a warm smile, but if anyone crossed her boundaries, she wouldn't hesitate to put them in their place. What I admire most about my daughter is that she possesses maturity and wisdom beyond both her parents. She poured her absolute utmost effort into every single examination. There was nothing particularly strange about the Key High School, but one day she came back and told us she was delivering food, and I felt like something had happened again. My daughter found a store that sold particularly good food, so she decided to bring breakfast for the whole school. When I heard this, I quickly stopped her. I explained to her, food safety is the bottom line. If there's a problem with the food, everyone will definitely get diarrhea, right? If they say they got diarrhea because of you, what will you do then, right? My daughter immediately dropped the idea of bringing breakfast. After that, a girl in her daughter's class offered to bring food for everyone. Some started complaining that the breakfast she brought wasn't hot, then that she brought the wrong kind of buns, and even that there was something wrong with what she brought, causing stomach upset. After a lot of commotion in the class, everyone went back to eating breakfast in the cafeteria. Her daughter was very glad she had listened to me when she heard this. Her daughter also mentioned later that someone in her class inexplicably gave her a can of milk. After I heard this, I immediately took it and gave it to the dog at home. This thing definitely has a problem. If someone gives you something out of the blue, don't eat it. My daughter nodded after hearing this. I said, anyway, if the school gives you anything out of the blue, just throw it to the dog at home. A few days later, my daughter said that a classmate in her class had dropped out, saying they had fallen ill and gone for treatment, and that the classmate had suddenly picked up bones from the ground to eat. That startled my wife and me. Another classmate even chased my daughter home, wanting to eat a meal at our house with a golden spoon. I saw him and immediately sent him away, telling him we had no food at home. Isn't this a plot from a TV show? You eat with a golden spoon and you can swap lives with your daughter. Until the son next door turned into a daughter, it seemed no one knew except our family of 3. My daughter also realized that there seemed to be something different in this world. When my daughter was in her senior year of high school, there was a Tsinghua University strong foundation program. As long as she participated, her admission score could be lowered by a certain amount. There was also a math competition that my daughter participated in, where she won a national first prize. Although I didn't quite understand what it was, a first prize meant she could be admitted to Tsinghua University's math department without taking the college entrance exam. At the time, my daughter thought she might as well give it a try. We also had someone help her apply to Ivy League schools abroad, though this was more of a last resort option. Over the past few years, my wife and I have gradually come to understand the concept of short stories. We realized that many plot lines from these short stories were happening to our daughter, so we did everything we could to secure multiple pathways for her to get into Tsinghua University. Otherwise, her college entrance exam results might have been swapped by someone. At the time, our daughter didn't believe it and thought it was all just superstitious nonsense. But it wasn't until the day of the exam that my daughter realized it wasn't us who had gone crazy. She performed exceptionally well during the exam, but after finishing, someone else swapped her results. She actually scored 751 points. Normally, she only gets around 710. She must have performed brilliantly during the exam, and with the extra 30 points added, her score skyrocketed. My daughter was devastated when she saw her score of just over 200 points. But thankfully she had previously won first prize in a math competition. Her college entrance exam score was also swapped, and the 200-point result became a laughingstock for everyone. Her past actions were dug up, with claims that she had cheated to get into this prestigious high school in the first place. Photos of her delivering takeout were posted online, along with images of her studying at school and every single one of her past exam scores. At this point, the comments from the crowd couldn't hide their malice. Wow, this copycat is going all out, copying every day, every month, just non-stop plagiarism. Exactly, always relying on their phone, but now without it during the college entrance exams, they're screwed. Oh my God, how can someone be so shameless, cheating their way to high scores normally? Aren't they afraid of being exposed during the exams? They even photoshopped my daughter's pictures to make her look ugly, claiming that's how she used to look, but because we're rich, we paid for her plastic surgery. They also said she often didn't show up because she was getting more surgery. I was furious, but my daughter didn't seem angry at all. Her social media account was suddenly flooded with comments. She usually just posts about delivering packages, and people generally watch her for a laugh. But they never expected her to score only 200 points on the college entrance exam. The persona she's built is outrageous, isn't it? The pretentious sister is even delivering food. I won't even mention how much fun she usually has. Her daughter calmly waited for public opinion to reach its peak. Her daughter even appeared in the news, almost making it onto CCTV News. Her daughter decisively photoshopped her college entrance exam scores from last year. You know, last year was even harder. She actually took the college entrance exam once already when she was in her second year of high school, and her raw score then was 719. Last year, she participated in the youth class program, so she could only go to the designated university, but my daughter didn't go. She sent out last year's transcript. Since you're so good at opening accounts, why didn't you open last year's and only opened this year's? Finally, my daughter showed a photo of her first place award in the math competition. Is there a possibility that I just went to take it casually? This time everyone thoroughly enjoyed the drama. The explanation made perfect sense. For someone competing in math contests, they might have just casually scribbled a few answers during this year's college entrance exam. Scoring just over 200 points is completely normal. Maybe they just wanted to have some fun. Not to mention last year's results couldn't have been faked. Now the netizens were even more fired up. My daughter didn't realize the video had such massive traffic. The one where she scored 200 points on her account even got 5 million likes, roughly estimated. 100 million people have seen it. Riding this wave of traffic, my daughter quickly accumulated 500,000 followers. However, the number of people cursing her in the comments section of that video exceeded 1 million. I never imagined my daughter would attract so much traffic, nor did I expect such malice to be unleashed upon her. I thought for a moment, how about we go to the Tsinghua admissions office and have them explain for you? It's no use. My daughter looked at me. Now they won't say, how did she do on the college entrance exam? She scored so low. They'll say there must have been something fishy about that math competition. They'll always find something to say. Even if I achieve more, they'll just say it's because of my family, because my family has money, and they won't think it's because of my own efforts. They think everything just falls easily into my lap. The Tsinghua admissions office quickly arrived at our home. Seeing my daughter's state, they actually felt quite pleased. Student, don't worry, we can issue an announcement to explain that you entered through legitimate channels and your scores are real and valid. My daughter refused. No need. We have to achieve real success to make them eat their words. During my daughter's summer vacation, my company had already gone bankrupt. But luckily, I was smart enough to buy all the land in the factory area before, so now we are landlords. And a little landlady. I took my wife and daughter to the capital. In the capital, our daughter quickly joined the lab, and then we didn't see her for a long time. We could still see her during weekend dinners, so we weren't too worried. My wife and I have poured our hearts and souls into raising our daughter, and seeing her live so well now makes it all worthwhile. Our daughter's top score in the college entrance exam soon caught Helen's attention. Helen traveled thousands of miles with her daughter to the capital. She had originally intended to find me in her hometown, but couldn't. When she reached the main gate of Tsinghua University, I personally witnessed Helen kneeling on the spot. Daughter, I shouldn't have swapped you back then. This time, my daughter was on the social media trending topics again. I'm impressed Helen still hasn't noticed that the skinny, dark-skinned little girl beside her looks exactly like her. This plagiarizing sister is also a fake heiress. Hurry up and get a paternity test. Look at how thin the child has become. Not a bit of sympathy. This family is truly outrageous. Don't tell me it's another, you only lost wealth and glory, but I lost my family, story. I quickly dug out the paternity test results for my daughter, my wife, and me from back then. I was careful back then, printing photos and even creating web links. I quickly found them for my daughter and had her post them on her account. Twist after twist, Helen's daughter's eyes were heartbreaking, but I felt even more for my own child. If I hadn't found out then, it would have been my daughter who got hit. My daughter's followers are growing, and sometimes she finds it quite burdensome, after sending this paternity test result. Our daughter deleted her account and then agreed with us that she would stay at school from then on. Now she's directly involved in a new military-industrial project, and she probably won't communicate with others anymore. Our daughter seems completely safe now, under the protection of the state. My wife and I are extremely happy. We already had money anyway, so during our daughter's 4 years of college, I took my wife to travel all over the country, and even to a few foreign countries. When we met again after our daughter finished her studies, she was already a graceful scientist. Seeing her in a white lab coat, exactly as I had imagined. I was so excited. My daughter has grown much taller now, about 175 meters, and she's as sharp as a dagger, with a very intellectual and perceptive aura about her. My daughter wasn't wearing glasses. The frames on her eyes were probably just for show. My wife excitedly hugged her daughter. I sent you so many postcards along the way. Did you get them all? I got them. Don't worry, Mom, I'm doing great at school, and I'm learning a lot. It's just that I still have a few years of study left. The institute suggested I pursue a postdoctoral degree, so I'll need to study for another 4 years. I didn't apply for a continuous bachelor's, master's, and doctoral program, so it'll be a while before I can properly take care of you too. As soon as I heard that, I waved my hand. No. My dear daughter, you've already gotten into Tsinghua, and you're still thinking about repaying us. No need. You are now our contribution to the country. You know, the rent for the factory building is high enough. How could we possibly spend over 200,000 a month? Besides, your mom and I are both retired now, and your mom's factory has been transferred out. We know you can't inherit our business, and we don't need you to. Just be a happy and content landlady, focus on your research, and contribute to the country. The daughter smiled when she heard this. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for your support. I wouldn't be nearly as happy without you. Right after graduating from university, the daughter was admitted to Tsinghua University for a master's and doctoral program. Online discussions also dwindled, as most people with normal intelligence realized that their daughter was a true talent. Then a bunch of people debated who the daughter's partner was. My wife and I had just arrived in the capital when my wife's best friend from centuries ago showed up at our door. I'm your best friend. Remember me? My wife looked at the woman in front of her with no recollection whatsoever. Next to her was her son Simon, who looked at me and my wife impatiently. Since it's an arranged marriage from the womb, then let her marry into our Smith family. Simon, will take responsibility for her. My wife and I exchanged glances. Are you out of your mind? Who said we were best friends with you? My wife probably figured it was our daughter's special charm at work again. Now that she's reached the age for marriage, a whole crowd of people are desperately clinging to her. Heavens, our daughter also wrote to us saying that there are always elderly people falling on the road. After she helps them up, their grandsons or youngest sons suddenly appear, and they're all, without exception, CEOs of some major corporation, or every time she arrives somewhere, there's always someone injured, and the injured person is invariably some executive from some company. On the road, there are ridiculously handsome wild men getting injured just waiting for her to pick them up. The most outrageous incident was when a pair of twins were waiting for her right outside the lab. Our daughter's heart has now become harder than iron, but it's not like our daughter doesn't have someone she likes in her heart. She got together with a boy from her high school days, who got into Tsinghua University with his raw exam scores. Both my wife and I are quite supportive. My wife thinks the more she looks at this boy, the more pleasing he becomes, although I found myself disliking this young man more the longer I looked at him. I also knew he was the best choice for my daughter, and we should respect her decision. The young man chose the same major as my daughter and entered the same research institute. They had always been senior-junior colleagues and later worked together continuously. Before 2 years had passed, when my daughter had just reached the marriageable age of 24, the young man took her to register their marriage. Our daughter didn't inform us beforehand, though of course we wouldn't have stopped her. Perhaps it was because she got married. Finally, there weren't so many messy things bothering my daughter anymore. Even my wife couldn't help but cry, her eyes red, as she looked at our daughter, who had acted first and reported later. I don't understand. You could have told us. We wouldn't have stopped you. My daughter was worried that we wouldn't approve because the boy's family was poor. I suddenly remembered the story of my daughter feeling sorry for that orphan back then. My daughter might have been deceived again. I looked at my daughter and asked, "Do you still remember that girl from your childhood, the one who came to our house?" My daughter's face instantly turned pale. Think again. Has this boy really been by your side all through school? As soon as I finished speaking, my daughter seemed to recall how he had been the subject of rumors all through high school. Where was the boy who had supposedly always been with her? Moreover, after entering the lab, all the projects she worked on were hers alone, yet in the end, 2 names were credited, and because the boy's name came first alphabetically, he ended up as the first author. My daughter suddenly realized something was wrong. She looked at me and said, "What if I've been scammed, Dad? I've already registered the marriage. It's okay, we'll take it to the state." Back when she scored 751 points in the college entrance exam, although the state claimed it was a statistical error, We actually went to the state about it. That's how she ended up in the National Classified Research Lab. Many wanted to dissect my daughter, but the state wouldn't allow it. Instead, they placed her under strict protection and arranged her work and studies. After we reported the situation to the relevant authorities, they verified that the young man had indeed appeared out of nowhere. Everyone around him had impressions of him, but there were absolutely no traces of his existence. When we arrived at his home, we found it completely empty. It was as if he had truly materialized from thin air. My daughter cried heartbrokenly. From then on, I realized that my daughter still needed a partner who truly loved her. I encouraged my daughter, "Why don't you try again? Maybe there's someone around you whom you haven't even noticed, but he's been silently admiring you all along." After I said that, my daughter fell silent. She must have been truly heartbroken, but a person who appears out of nowhere isn't true companionship. I looked at my daughter, unsure how to comfort her. My daughter seemed to realize it too. "Dad, am I really that lonely?" Which is why such a person appeared. Sometimes I even wonder if I'm dreaming. Why is fate treating me like this? My heart ached as I looked at her. I don't understand either, but Mom and Dad will always be by your side. We'll support you forever. Mom, Dad, now I'm worried that even you might be fake. After my daughter said this, I suddenly seemed to realize something. Oh, right. Maybe my daughter is the only living person in this world, so the world revolves around her. Detected host has awakened. Do you wish to exit this world? My daughter looked at me, tears streaming down her face. Dad, so you were all already dead, just living in the instance I set up. Judy took off the virtual reality glasses in front of her, and the boundary between virtual and reality became clear again. The 22nd century was an era completely dominated by technology. Judy was born in the slums of this era, yet possessed astonishing talent and business acumen. She built herself up from nothing, relying not only on luck but also on immense effort. People in this world were very empty. The upper class monopolized 99.9% of resources, yet found no spiritual solace. Seizing this opportunity, Judy amassed a huge fortune with her self-developed virtual reality glasses. This invention allowed people to experience different lives in a virtual world, becoming the protagonists of their own stories. The meaning of technology goes beyond this, she murmured, caressing the holographic projection in her lab. It's not just about finding joy in the virtual world, but also about making yourself better in reality. A yellowed paper photograph lay tucked under the corner of the table, the last image of her parents before they passed away. The moment my fingertip touched the photo frame, the holographic projection automatically played childhood footage, a little girl in patched clothes being lifted high by her parents. What my daughter didn't know was that my consciousness data had also entered the real world along with the system, though my physical form had long perished. Seeing my daughter's achievements today finally allows me to fade away in peace. Even if I wasn't your real father, my daughter, we still loved you. After hearing the two stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you like this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.